your booklets, you say that, I forget which one, it was an old class, I think it said in some text that like the first few looks at something, as in like a health condition, are usually wrong.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Why does that happen?
It's usually wrong. It can be partially right, but you want to go through and keep questioning, because a lot of times we look at a situation and we form an opinion, and then we just kind of go from there as if it's like 100% accurate. And so be it a health issue or in business, so a lot of times I talk about it more in a business setting, that the first couple looks at something are inaccurate. And it doesn't mean that it's completely inaccurate, but there's still you processing information and getting to it. And a lot of times when you're looking at something, we will get caught into the whys instead of what it is. And so be it in business or in a health issue. And a lot of times the why, sometimes it can be helpful, a lot of times it's not. And so with that, it just keeps you refining your look at something so that you're always gathering information and refining your perception of what's happening. And so rarely does somebody usually knock it out of the park right off the bat,
Yeah.
And so I used to think that because I didn't get something figured out right off the bat, that there was something wrong with me. And then, having talks with teachers and things, I realized that no, that's just normal. I just was
Right.
super
Right.
judgy about myself.
Right.
Yeah. So
It's hard when you're a healer. It's like you just start to worry. You want to help the person. You want to help them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And so
you still shoot
like,
for that, but just
should be better now. I feel bad.
no. You should. I mean, it's always good to shoot for that, but I'll always think big picture. I always try to do as much as I can for somebody with the time that we have, or in a session or something like that. But also a lot of times it is more of a big picture approach. And, especially if something's chronic, if you go into it knowing like this is going to take a little bit, you can form really effective long-term strategies. But when you're always just trying to knock it out of the park every time, it keeps being just these really short-term strategies that just like accumulate over a period of time. And they still get better, but with things that are really chronic, you really want to start setting like really long-term strategies about like, we're going to deal with this, then we're going to deal with this, then we're going to deal with this. You kind of start being really super methodical about what you do. And, sometimes the patient might stay, sometimes they don't, but still you're doing the approach that is going to produce the result. And, if they can hang in there,
because
great.
they want like relief from what is painful or bothering them. And like getting that relief might make them feel better in the short term, but it doesn't really make progress over like
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with stabilizing them right off the bat. Like nothing wrong with that at all. Like in fact, that usually is the first step is, stabilizing. And so if they're in crisis, if they're in pain, if there's a lot of inflammation, if there's a lot of, trauma or stress or something, that all needs to be addressed. And then as everything starts to calm down, then you put in the long-term treatment.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
And someone was asking from an earlier question, which cinnamon oil can we drink in water? I have cinnamon bark, leaf, and supreme.
Yeah, you can drink all of them. Yeah. I'd probably start with the leaf just because it's the gentlest for ingesting, but you can drink them all internally. The bark is substantially stronger. The Supreme is leaf and bark and cassia and another form of really, tamala, and then another form of kind of cinnamon that's really soft. So you could start with the leaf, then work up to the Supreme. And if you just still feel you need a really power punch, you can do the bark, but the bark is a bit strong.
And if you guys